Hi, first graders. Since today is St. Patrick's Day, I thought that I would share with you one of my favorite St. Patrick's Day stories. So today I will be reading Lucky a Leprechaun in School. I hope you enjoy. Sure, and the leprechaun trouble started the day Bibi cried, "Mr. Elliot, someone took bites out of Lydia's cupcakes." "How rude," said Lydia. "Who would do a thing like that?" "'Tis true. Everyone in class knew each other. They knew no one would do that, except, maybe, the new boy." Everyone looked at Kevin O'Malley. "It wasn't me!" Kevin cried. "Look, the bite marks are tiny." "True," said Mr. Elliot. "We believe you. He looked at the class list. Kevin!" Kevin O'Malley felt terrible, indeed. He had only been in school 3 days. No one here knew his name. No one here knew him at all. He was a nobody. "Let's get back to your reports on the moon," said Mr. Elliot. "They're due next week." "The moon is a big boring rock," Bibi muttered. The kids at her table giggled. At snack time, Bibi wailed, "There are tiny teeth marks in my cookies." "Must be mice," said Mr. Elliot. "I'll set up a trap with cheese after school." Alas, the next morning they found a pencil caught in the mouse trap and the cheese gone. "Impossible," said Mr. Elliot. "No mouse can outsmart a trap." "Excuse me, Mr. Elliot," said Lydia. "I hear a tiny voice laughing at us from the closet." "A laughing mouse?" asked Mr. Elliot. "Couldn't be." Everyone grew silent as he yanked open the closet door. The closet was empty. Suddenly they heard tiny footsteps clattering above the ceiling. "I hear shoes!" cried Mr. Elliot. "Mice don't wear shoes." "Mr. Elliot," said Kevin, "my cousins, Meg and Sean, caught a leprechaun right in this neighborhood. His name was Lucky O'Leprechaun." The kids began to snicker, but the footsteps overhead stopped. "Sure, and aren't you the smarty pants, Kevin O'Malley?" sneered a little Irish voice from somewhere above the ceiling. Everyone stared at Kevin. Now they knew Kevin O'Malley's name and would never forget it. "If we catch Lucky O'Leprechaun," whispered Kevin, "he'll grant us a wish." "Big gosh, I heard that, you little bunny grubber!" called Lucky O'Leprechaun. "We'd better talk on the playground," said Kevin, "so he can't overhear us." Out on the playground, Bibi and Lydia stood guard, watching for a tricky little man in green, while Kevin explained about leprechauns. "If you see a leprechaun, you can catch him by staring at him. He can't get away until he grants you a wish. But if you blink before he makes your wish, he'll disappear and you'll get nothing." "Oh, please, Mr. Elliot," said Lydia. "May we trap him?" "Of course," said Mr. Elliot. "But what shall we use for bait?" "Snacks!" shouted Bibi. "Snacks! Snacks!" "The cheese snack didn't work," said Kevin. "We need gold." "Snacks!" bellowed Bibi. "Gold!" said Kevin. "Kevin, we can't leave gold in school overnight," said Mr. Elliot. "Lucky might get away with it, like he got away with the cheese." "Snacks!" hollered Bibi. "Hush, Bibi," said Lydia, shaking her head. "We need a compromise." "I have an idea," said Kevin. "It's a snack and it's gold," he whispered his plan to the class and everyone cheered, even Bibi. "Now for the wish," shouted Bibi. "Gold! His pot of gold!" "But Bibi," said Kevin, "you know grown-ups. We can't ask for gold because all the adults in town would make us spend it their way." "Sad," said Mr. Elliot, "but true. We'd lose control of it." "Then let's ask for something no one can take away from us," said Lydia. Everyone had a different idea. There was arguing and shouting. Then Kevin whispered his idea, and the entire class began jumping up and down, chanting, "Kevin! Kevin!" The next day Mr. Elliot set an old cooking pot on his desk. Kevin opened a grocery bag and poured gold coins into the pot. Mr. Elliot turned on a recording of Irish music. "Now, kids, it's time to dance an Irish jig." Except Kevin. Mr. Elliot winked. "Kevin, you hold the pot lid in the air and drum this wooden spoon on it so we don't lose the beat." Soon the room was wild with Mr. Elliot and the students dancing. Kevin drummed up a loud racket. Suddenly he slammed the lid down on the pot. "We got him!" Kevin shouted. "Now, no blinking," warned Mr. Elliot. "Kevin, raise the lid." Slowly, Kevin lifted the pot lid, and there was Lucky Leprechaun himself! The little Manny stamped his feet. "Sure, and what kind of a phony gold is this?" He held up a gold coin and ripped off the foil. "'Tis mud inside!" "Mr. Elliot," warned Lydia, "please make our wish before he escapes." Lucky heard her. A sneaky smile curled his lips. "What's that behind you?" he cried. Mr. Elliot and most of the kids twirled around to see, but nothing was there. Kevin knew they'd better not wait one more second. "Our class wish, Lucky Leprechaun," Kevin said, "is that you take us on a field trip to the moon." "The moon? No gold?" Lucky began to dance a jig. "They didn't ask for me pot of gold. Granted, your wish is granted." The little fellow jumped into the windowsill. "Take hold of me coattails, Kevin, oh boy, and everyone join hands." Lucky Leprechaun flew out the window with the class following him like a kite tail. The children on the playground stopped playing and stared after them. As they flew higher and higher, the school got smaller and smaller. "There's my house!" shouted Bibi. "Oh my gosh! There's the whole state! The whole country! The whole world!" Soon the kids were standing on the moon, looking back at the beautiful blue and white earth. With a wave of his hand, Lucky Leprechaun made every star visible. 'Twas awestruck into silence they were. Then, didn't they learn about the moon from the Leprechaun himself? They wrote their names in moon dust and collected moon rocks. Just before school dismissal time, Lucky gathered them for the trip back to Earth. Bigosh and Bigorra! It was a thrilling flight that ended right in the classroom. "Mr. Leprechaun," said Kevin, "you can keep the gold coins." "Fine present, sport," snapped the Leprechaun. "'Tis foil and mud." "Taste one, please." Lucky grinned and bowed. "Ta! I'll be off now." Suddenly he and the chocolate coins disappeared, but the children